Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is all about picking the right tapering speed for your psychiatric medication taper. It's a key decision that's going to significantly impact your tapering journey. We're going to be breaking down the factors that you need to consider to find a pace that is safe and comfortable for you. So stay tuned to learn how to tailor your tapering speed for the best results. And remember, always consult with your doctor on any changes you're making to your medications. Okay, so we're going to go into the decision making behind picking an initiation taper speed. Bolded and underlined initiation up there because this is just where you start. With all tapering, it's always going to be responsive to how the taper is progressing. So if you go really quickly and then you're having severe withdrawal problems, then you're going to slow it down. But the initiation is the most important part. So you're going to start at one speed, you're going to continue at that rate until you get feedback from your body, which will tell you to modify it. It'll either tell you to keep on going or to slow it down. Tapering speed and the different rate is really arbitrary. You know, people will say, we're going to move slowly at a moderate pace or at a fast pace. I've just thrown up some definitions of what I tend to consider to be slow, moderate, and fast taper speeds, with slow being 5 to 10% of the last dose every 30 days, moderate being 20 to 40% of the previous dose every 2 weeks, and with a fast taper where you're dropping 50% of the previous dose every 7 days, and cold turkey is just stopping outright. That's how I use this language, and you may use it different, but it's all arbitrary. But let's keep on going. So the initiation taper speed is going to be driven by the negative effects of the drugs that you might be experiencing. If you're having severe symptoms, you're going to move fast. If you're having unpleasant but tolerable symptoms, you'll move at a moderate pace. And if you're having no symptoms at all, you may move at a very slow pace. And I want to mention that you can always slow down when the risk has resolved. For instance, you may start a taper at a moderate or a fast pace, but you'll find that when you've removed, 50% of the drug, the side effect has gone away, you're feeling a lot better, and then you might just transition to a slow taper after then because you don't need to move really quickly. So maybe an example of this would be you're on 1200 milligrams of lithium daily. You're noticing that you're having changing renal function. You fairly, at a moderate pace, you go down to say maybe 600 milligrams daily and you get retested and you notice that your renal function is normalizing. And at that point, you're going to reassess your tapering speed. You're going to say, do I really need to move down rapidly and risk withdrawal symptoms? You're going to say no. You can slow it down. So you start at a particular rate and then you adjust when the side effects go away or maybe when you start to have more withdrawal symptoms that tell you to slow it down. This is the overarching philosophy with tapering speed. You're balancing two things. You're balancing the effect of the drug, the unpleasant effect, against the risk of withdrawal. And if you're having more unpleasant effect of the drug, it's going to outweigh the risk of withdrawal and you're going to go faster. And then the opposite is true. If there's no risks, or if there's very small risks of being on the drug, but there's a high risk of withdrawal related problems like with the benzos or the SSRIs, then you're going to move slowly. You have nothing to gain by moving quickly. But let's go through a couple of examples on these different tapering speeds. When are you going to cold turkey? You're almost never going to do this. You're only going to do this with life-threatening side effects. Things like serotonin syndrome or NMS, which is a severe side effect of the antipsychotic medications. If you're having Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is a really acute and severe rash from Lamictal, you would stop it immediately. And you're likely not going to have a lot of withdrawal problems if you've been on the drug for a short period of time. And most of these things happen when you've been on the drug for like 2 weeks. So stopping it outright is fine. So these are the only real examples where I think stopping the drug cold turkey is a good idea. When would you do a fast taper? Okay, so now we're not talking about things that are immediately life-threatening, but they're severe and they're intolerable. The things that I would think of are side effects like akathisia, that really severe internal restlessness and agitation from either the antipsychotics or sometimes the antidepressants that make people intensely suicidal. You would want to move fast here. You might drop half of the dose in a week and then, another half of the previous dose the week after. These types of problems, like this akathisia, usually emerges within a few weeks of drug initiation. And you're just going to monitor the akathisia, and also you're going to be looking for withdrawal as you're doing this. As I mentioned before, you can always slow down if the akathisia goes away and you're having more withdrawal symptoms, and then you would kind of go to a more gradual taper. And when would you do a moderate taper? Well, these symptoms, I would say that they're significant, they're unpleasant, but they're tolerable. I might think about things like systemic inflammation, not Stevens-Johnson syndrome, but more of this general inflammatory thing that happens with the Lamictal where people get kind of They feel like they have like Lyme disease or Epstein-Barr virus. They feel really fluey and achy, and they have headaches. You might do a moderate taper from Lamictal. Also, you could do a faster taper if you're having significant anxiety or insomnia from stimulants, things like Wellbutrin and Adderall. And I want to say with the stimulants, the risk of withdrawal problems, especially protracted withdrawal, it's really just not there. I think it probably can happen in some instances, but I've never seen anyone with protracted withdrawal injury coming off stimulants. It's way more the SSRIs and the benzodiazepines. You would also do a more moderate taper if you're having pretty significant problems with the direct effect of the drug. So you might be on a high dose of gabapentin, and there's no need going really slowly with that if your primary symptoms are intense brain fog and cognitive problems. You could move a little bit quicker because it's likely that that high dose of gabapentin is affecting you. When you're doing this, you're going to initiate it at a moderate speed, and as always, you're going to be monitoring for the improvement of the negative effects of the drug, and also be looking for withdrawal. So when you start to see that withdrawal symptom kind of come up, you're going to slow the rate down. And finally, when would you do a slow taper? Well, the number one time you're going to do a slow taper is when you are functioning well. So if you are coming to drug tapering from a place of stability, and by that I mean you are working, you're able to look after your children, and you're doing well, there is no point going too quickly because you have so much more to lose by doing a faster taper and having a withdrawal related injury. So if you're stable, just go slowly. You have, there is no rush. I think about, like I said, people who are stable, but I also think about people who are worried about concerns for side effects. So let's say you're worried about having a side effect from like an antipsychotic medication or lithium, but you haven't really developed it yet. Because you haven't developed that side effect, I would say move slowly. Yeah, so that's the overall approach that I would use to picking a tapering speed. And that's it. I hope this video makes your tapering journey a little more manageable. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. And if you're looking for someone to help you with your taper, we are working in several US states that are listed on my website in the link below this video. So thanks for watching and take care.